I'm Paige Feldman, a writer, director, and producer who's looking to reinvent the romantic comedy for the 21st century. And here on this YouTube channel, I'm looking to share my creative process, warts and all, with all of you, fellow filmmakers, writers, and storytellers of all kinds. So today, you are joining me here in my kitchen. Lovely. And I'll get to that later. And I'm wearing my Jurassic Park Life Finds a Way t-shirt because I want to share with you a story of how another one of Steven Spielberg's movies inspired me to become a filmmaker. But it's not in the way you might think. Always been a storyteller. Ever since I can remember, that is the thing that has consumed me. When I was 4 years old, I would put on plays with my sister and my cousin, and because they were 2 and 3 years old, they weren't great at anything besides following my directions. So I would grab us costumes and we would go stand on the stage, which was just a hallway in my grandma's house or the living room, and I would whisper lines in their ears and we would tell stories, usually about princesses and dragons and princes and, you know, the whole royal family. And I was always the star, which is funny now because despite having this YouTube channel, I kind of hate being on camera. Regardless, I didn't always know that I wanted to be a writer, because I would tell stories through other mediums, like dance, which I'm not a very good dancer, but that was always fun, or music. I would sing, again, not a very good singer, but I played viola a lot, and also through food. Cooking and food are ways that I show love and things that I love to do, and that's kind of why we're in the kitchen right now, because I just finished making my Bubby's lemon bar recipe, and I actually never met my Bubby. It's my mom's grandma, but her legacy lives on through cooking and food, and that's a whole story in and of itself. These flavors that she created are things that now I'm able to recreate and share with friends, and there's just so many strings of legacy in that, and it's beautiful. So despite my being so obsessed with storytelling, it took me a while, and when I say a while, it was until I was 8 to realize I wanted to be a writer, because even before then, I was writing my own futures for myself. I was obsessed with what was going to happen to me when I grew up. I wanted to know who I was going to marry when I was 6 years old. Was I going to be an eye doctor or an astronaut or a combination eye doctor, professional NFL cheerleader? But then I thought, well, why stop at being a cheerleader? Because the real action is in the game. So would I maybe be the first female quarterback for the NFL? I could have been. That sounded fun. Never mind the fact that I'm 5'3", have 0 upper body strength, and despite being able to throw a spiral, I'm not very good at it. Again, one thing that I always knew that I loved within all of these stories that I told myself was thinking up these new possibilities. And so I loved going to the movies. I loved watching stories, watching these possibilities flash across the screen in front of me. And one night, my family all went to the movies, like we did a lot. And we saw the Flintstones movie, you know, the one with John Goodman and Rick Moranis and Rosie O'Donnell and Halle Berry as a sexy secretary. So we saw that movie, and sitting in the dark theater, the end of the film happened, and I watched the credits. And I saw up on screen the name Steven Spielberg. And I laughed, because obviously it was Steven Spielberg, because we just watched the Flintstones movie, and there are more rock and Stone Age and granite and boulder puns in that movie than anyone should ever have to listen to. And seeing his name on the screen, though, brought up a new feeling of certainty inside my little 8-year-old body. I saw his name and I realized I hated this movie. Oh my God, this movie was terrible. And not only was it terrible, but Steven Spielberg executive produced it. Steven Spielberg executive produced a terrible movie. A movie that I, an 8-year-old, thought was so terrible that I could make a better one. I thought I could make the Flintstones movie better. And not even that, I thought I could just make a better movie than the Flintstones movie that should be showing in the theater in place of the Flintstones movie. I thought, well, if I, an 8-year-old, already know that I am better at making movies than Steven Spielberg, the best movie director in the world, the one who has made me cry the most times of any movie director ever, then why am I not in Hollywood? Why could I not be a filmmaker? And I made my decision that night. And I asked my parents, where are the best film schools? And they said USC and UCLA. And I said, well, I'm going to one of them for college. And they laughed, but I never wavered. I love the brash optimism of my 8-year-old self and that certainty. And I try to channel that in moments when now, as a 37-year-old, I don't feel as certain because I'm doing the thing that that little 8-year-old girl knew I could do, and yet I'm not where she wanted me to be yet. But you know what? I'm doing pretty great. I'm gonna make my first feature. I've had movies play in film festivals, and I just wrapped a 10-episode audio romantic comedy series. I'm making movies. I'm doing the thing that my 8-year-old self could do. And I don't know if they're better than other Spielberg movies, but I'm pretty sure they're still better than the Flintstones movie. Or at least the Flintstones movie was the way that my tiny 8-year-old self saw it. And now, for the grand finale, here are the lemon bars. These babies got a cool overnight, so that is why I'm in a different shirt for the obligatory final bite shot. Mmm. Mmm.